In this problem, we're going to verify the identity that secant squared x times sine squared x plus cotangent x times tangent x is equal to secant squared x. So the first thing that we should consider doing here is working with the left side. Remember, you always want to choose the more complicated side, which is clearly the left one. And in this case, there are a couple of things that we could start doing to simplify or to get this to become secant squared x. The first thing is to notice we have cotangent x times tangent x. Those are reciprocals being multiplied. Remember, whenever you multiply reciprocals together, the result is always 1. So this is automatically going to become plus 1. Now, let's go ahead and rewrite this secant squared x times sine squared x, because whenever you're going through one of these problems, you don't want to do more than one step at a time. Now that we have this, we need to find a way to change around this secant squared x sine squared x. And off the top of our heads, it's probably not going to be anything popping up that we can work with. So remember, when all else fails, convert everything to sine and cosine. So this secant squared x is the same thing as 1 over cosine squared x. So we get 1 over cosine squared x times sine squared x. And that's going to be plus 1. Now, 1 over cosine squared x times sine squared x, we can put this sine squared x over 1 and multiply straight across. Whenever you're multiplying fractions together, you multiply straight across the top and bottom, which gives us 1 times sine squared is just sine squared x over cosine squared x times 1 is just cosine squared x plus 1. And now at this point, hopefully you notice we have a sine over a cosine. So sine over cosine is another way of saying tangent. So sine squared x over cosine squared x is tangent squared x. And this is going to be plus 1. Now from here, we still have to find a way to make this equal secant squared x. So remember that one of our Pythagorean identities is that tangent squared x plus 1 is equal to secant squared x. And as soon as we make that note, we're allowed to use that to change this problem around to say that tangent squared x plus 1 is just secant squared x. And that gives us exactly what we needed on the right side of the problem. We just completely changed the left side to match the right side. Therefore, we have verified the identity.